In some fighting games, there is a technique known as the Kara cancel. The name Kara, the Japanese word for empty, refers to us canceling an attack so that its hitbox never comes out, thus making it empty. Thank you, Dustloop. This technique involves firing off 2 attacks consecutively within an incredibly small window. You input your move, then cancel the startup animation of the first move by inputting another move within a window, usually around 2 to 3 frames. This allows you to perform your second move while retaining what properties you gained from the first 2-3 frames of the first move you did. These properties vary from game to game, but for this example, we'll be using our good friend Potemkin and his signature Potemkin Buster. This move is a grab. While it has more range than a normal grab, we can utilize the Kara cancel to make our grab travel more distance. Watch as I cancel the startup of my first move by inputting my second move. If done successfully, Potemkin will glide forward and snatch the weave of anyone unfortunate enough to be standing in the extended range of our grab. Some other characters have this technique, but this intro is already long enough. I promise this information is relevant. What if I told you that we can do a similar technique in Elden Ring? Before we start, I would like to give mention to the original finder of this technique, Gabri and Hackrisht. Check out Gabri's video he uploaded from last year for more information on this technique. Pay attention to this next part because it's rather restrictive. This technique can only be executed when you are on heavy load and using a weapon with an idle animation that rests the weapon over the shoulder. Colossal swords, great axes, great hammers, and colossal weapons are the only weapons that can perform this technique. Like our introductory example, we are going to cancel our first move, that being our backstep, by inputting another move, our guard button. This cancels our backstep animation and allows us to immediately guard. What can we do while guarding? Well, anything I suppose. For starters, let's try our light attack. Once you're comfortable with the execution of this technique, you can start to use it faster and with other moves, Ashes of War, heavy attacks, jumps, you name it. How will this help us in combat? Like Kara cancels, this allows us to position ourselves slightly closer or slightly further to or from our opponents in a fraction of a second. This provides us with a fundamental understanding that exists within all fighting games, known as microspacing. Elden Ring, being a 3D game as opposed to a second fighter, allows us to propel ourselves in any direction, as long as you can execute your reverse backstep correctly. This has a lot of applications in 1 versus 1 combat, but as mentioned before, it's locked behind heavy load. This forces you to rely on a movement Ash of War like Quick Step or Bloodhound Step to prevent yourself from being put into a roll catch vortex. You'll likely have a much easier time using a build that isn't a cosplay build, but if you are, just slap a couple colossal weapons into your weapon slots, and you should be fat rolling with ease. Is this technique worth using? With the drawbacks? I'm not entirely sure. I can say I've had an absolute blast trying it out, and I recommend that you give it a shot. You might be surprised at what you can do with it. Have a look for yourself.